Welcome back. UFC 314 is just days away. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes, which means it's time for me to break down every single fight on this card. You know, it's a great card, top to bottom. We've got a main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Co-main, Paddy, Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. We got Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell. There's a lot of fights to go through on this card. I can't wait. Let me get right into it. We've got the first fight of the night is going to be Nora Cornole versus Hailey Cowan. What a fight to get started with. You know, this is just an incredible blockbuster fight. You know, Nora Cornole is coming off a split decision loss to Jacqueline Cavalcanti, but we all know it really should have been a unanimous win for Jacqueline Cavalcanti. But, you know, I love me some Nora Cornole. She's a good underdog to take most of the time, but I think this time she is the favorite according to Topology, minus 200, unfortunately. We will have to pick Nora Cornole to beat Hailey Cowan. I don't really think she belongs in the UFC anyways. She kind of got gifted a contract off a split decision on the Contender Series. Don't like that. I think Nora Cornole is going to take home a decision win. That's going to be the pick. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we've got Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. Tresean Gore is coming off of a submission win over Antonio Tricoli a few months ago, a standing guillotine choke. That's his favorite move. You know, he did that to Josh Fremd as well a while ago. I thought that was only 2 fights ago. He's pretty inactive, I think. You know, he's only 5-2 overall professionally. Marco Tulio's fought nearly triple the amount of fights this guy has. Not triple, only double. You know, I can do math. Marco Tulio is definitely the pick here. You know, he's got a lot of potential. He's won his last at least 5 fights. He's on a roll. What's his win streak? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 in a row. That's a crazy win streak. Something Tresean Gore is only dreaming about. So I've got to pick Marco Tulio to get this one done. You know, people are saying octagon jitters and all that. You know, he already knocked out Ihor Potieria. He's got a short turnaround. He took no damage that first fight, and he's back in here. I think he's most likely going to knock out Tresean Gore. I'm going to take Marco Tulio to finish Tresean Gore by KO, TKO within 2 rounds. That's going to be the pick there. Next fight on the card is Sumadearji and Mitch Raposo. You know, this one's a little scary, I won't lie. I'm picking Mitch Raposo over Sumadearji, and let me tell you. So this one's a little scary, and let me tell you why. Because Mitch Raposo, he's got an 8-inch reach discrepancy here over Sumadearji. And I'm picking him to win over Sumadearji. I think he's going to get takedowns off, get some control time, possibly submit Sumadearji in this fight. I don't have any faith in Sumadearji's takedown defense. And I talked about this over on the Sparring Sessions podcast. I've rewatched some of Sumadearji's fights, and I'm just seeing like Tim Elliott take him down. I'm seeing Matt Schnell take him down. And I think Mitch Raposo is going to be able to do the same. He got Andre Lima down at moments. And, say what you want about him, but he does average 2 takedowns over the course of 15 minutes. And, he's got a good double leg. Sumadearji, apparently a 66% takedown defense. I mean, that's no Martin Buday, if I'm being honest. I think Mitch Raposo is going to be able to get him down. The only worry is the reach advantage for Sumadearji, but, he's usually not really being able to implement that well. And, who's he KOing? Malcolm Gordon? I don't think Mitch Raposo is as bad on the feet as Malcolm Gordon. I think he's going to be able to get takedowns off. We're going to go with a Mitch Raposo submission win in the 2nd round. That's going to be the official pick. Moving on, Sedriques Dumas versus Michal Oleksiejchuk. Sedriques Dumas coming off of a win over Denis Tululin. Not the worst win. You know, he lost to Nursultan Ruziboev, but I don't know if you remember, Nursultan Ruziboev had a finger pretty much to the knuckle on his in Sedriques Dumas's eye. So Unfortunate for Dumas. Apparently, Ruzabov apologized to him about it, but I don't know if that really rights the foul. You know, they don't get enforced in MMA anyways. Michal Oleksiejchuk, he's coming off of a couple losses. You know, he's a journeyman. He's like Georgian Kevin Hall or Poland Kevin Holland. Pretty much. You know, he lost to Calbaralo, lost to Michel Pereira. He lost to Kevin Holland, got his arm broken, but it wasn't actually broken, and he lost to Sharamagomedov. The thing is here, like, I would be confident in picking Oleksiejchuk, but he's at a 5-inch reach discrepancy here. And Dumas, I don't know, this guy's crafty. He's got pretty good striking, like Nursultan Ruzabov knocked him out, but also Nursultan Ruzabov had a reach advantage and also was allowed to just eye poke him. I don't think Oleksiejchuk's arms are even going to be long enough to touch Dumas's eye, so I don't think that's a factor here. I don't really understand why he's a minus 200. I think Dumas is going to be able to beat him up at range, and maybe if he gets to the mat, Dumas could find a sub, I think. I don't know. I think Oleksiejchuk might be getting overrated a bit here. I'm going to go with Dumas to finish this fight inside the distance. That's going to be the pick. Moving on. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. This might be interesting to you. You know, Darren Elkins is a plus 300 over Julian Erosa, who's a minus 380. Kind of interesting. You know, I don't think Julian Erosa ever should be a minus nearly 400 on the money line. He does have a 4-inch reach advantage, nearly 4 years younger than Darren Elkins. But, you know, they've both lost 11 career fights. Most people are taking Erosa to finish this fight by submission. I mean, Darren Elkins has only been submitted by Charles Oliveira, and that was in 2010. 15 years ago. A whole 15 years ago was the only time he's ever been submitted. Right there. Is that not crazy? Julian Erosa, on the other hand, you know, he's coming off of a submission win over Christian Rodriguez in the first round, and Ricardo Ramos in the fight before that. He's on a streak of submissions, so I understand why you would pick him to get a submission win here, but I don't see it happening. But I do see Julian Erosa winning. I'll pick him to win a decision over Darren Elkins here. You know, the plus 300 could be a good line to take, I won't lie. But we're taking Julian Erosa to take home a decision win. Next fight, we got Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Chase Hooper's continuing to fight these 41-year-olds, man. Jim Miller's a plus 500 over Chase Hooper, who's a minus 700 favorite, who's coming off a submission win over Clay Guida, Vyacheslav Borshev, Jordan Levitt, and he beat Nick Fiore by decision 4 fights ago. Jim Miller is he is coming off a win over Damon Jackson, but the thing is, like, Chase Hooper's just the young blood. I don't see Jim Miller beating a guy as credentialed as Chase Hooper is on the ground, and I just see Chase Hooper getting into the mat and getting some weird submission that you don't see too much. So we're gonna go with the Chase Hooper round 1 submission win. They're gonna book Vince Pichel versus Chase Hooper after this. Maybe let's bring back Tony Ferguson, maybe a Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz versus Chase Hooper would be a good, that'd sell, I think. So yeah, let's move on. Chase Hooper submitting Jim Miller in the first round. We move on to Virna Jandiroba versus Xianan Yan Xianan. This is kind of a interesting one. Like, Virna Jandiroba, I did pick Lopes to beat her. I was very surprised about that fight. But I've got to give her credit at this point. I have to give her credit at this point. She has such crafty grappling. Like, when she gets a moment, she really doesn't give you a chance to breathe. And you got to give her credit because of that. And Yan Xiaonan, I mean, she is very game in these fights. She's very game. She's got good takedown defense as well. But this isn't a Tabitha Ricci trying to take you down. This is a Virna Jandiroba who is excellent at, like, I mean, her accuracy on takedowns aren't incredible, but her ability to just continue, like to get control positions and to just keep you there. It's commendable. It really is. And I don't think the stats of 35% or whatever it was takedown accuracy, I don't think that speaks for how good she is getting in and getting the back and getting, even if she's on the bottom, she's very good. But Yan Xiaonan does have 63% takedown defense. She probably is better on the feet than Virna Jandiroba. We saw her go back and forth I mean, it was kind of one-sided against Zhang Weili, but she did get a couple knockdowns in the fight. Yan Xiaonan, where does it say? Yeah, Yan Xiaonan is credited with the only knockdown of the fight. Zhang Weili didn't even get a knockdown, apparently, which I don't know about that. I totally thought she got a knockdown. She might have just been getting takedowns and beating her up on the ground, though, I guess. But yeah, Yan Xiaonan got a knockdown in this fight in the third round. Like, it was back and forth. She sticks in there even when she's getting beat up. But if Zhang Weili's going to be able to get her down, I mean, I'm not really saying Virna's on the same level, but I think Virna Jandiroba does have a pretty crafty grappling game. I think she's going to be able to get Yan Xiaonan to the mat and keep her there. Maybe get a submission at some point, but probably not. We're going to go with a Virna Jandiroba decision win over Yan Xiaonan. That's the pick. We're moving on. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Dan Ige's unranked now. Kind of surprising. We lost to Lerone Murphy. Pretty close, back and forth, 5-round decision. He got a knockdown at one point in that fight. Diego Lopes, that was a short notice. Catchweight, 165-pound belt. And, he is good. He is good, but I don't see him being Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson's too crafty, too weird, too funky. He's just one of these guys that, you don't know how to fight him until you're in the cage with him. And, he's a very funky guy to land anything on. And he's been on a tear recently, staying active. In the past, 2 years, he's fought 4 times. He's staying in there. He definitely is staying in there. And Dan Ige, you can say the same about him, but I just see they're on different paths here. Dan Ige totally could win, but Sean Woodson has to be the pick. He's the obvious pick here. He's got the momentum, the craftiness. He's got the reach advantage of 7 inches and the height advantage of 7 inches. So he's 7 inches taller and 7 inches longer than Dan Ige. Dan Ige is going to have to throw some Superman punches if he even wants to touch the chin of Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson's winning this fight by decision. That's going to be the pick. Next fight, Nikita Krylov versus Dominick Reyes. Oh, man. Nikita's the favorite over Dominick, who 2 fights ago, he was on a KO loss streak. He got KO'd by Jan, he got KO'd by Yuri, and then he got KO'd by Ryan Spann. I thought he was going to get KO'd by Dustin Jacoby as well, but, he righted history, got 2 wins back in the win column. But, I mean, Dustin Jacoby is not on the level of Nikita Krylov. And Anthony Smith came into that fight bawling his eyes out. He came in crying and was asking Dominick Reyes to hit him because he wanted to feel something. Is that really an excellent win for Dominick Reyes? I don't know. I think that's kind of just someone throwing a fight. Nikita Krylov, on the other hand, he hasn't fought in 2 years, but he looks excellent every time he's in here. He was on a run before. He was on a 3-fight win streak, about to cement himself as a contender. He knocked out Gustafsson. He beat Volkan Ozdemir. And Ryan Spann, he submitted. Dominick Reyes, that's just not doing it for me. A win over Anthony Smith. Nikita Krylov's going to knock out Dominick Reyes, I think, sometime in the first or second round. Unfortunately for Dominick Reyes, the run stops here. Nikita Krylov is going to put him out, sadly. Next fight, we got Yair Rodriguez versus debuting Patricio Pitbull, Bellator legend. But he did get knocked out in Rizin less than 2 years ago. Yair Rodriguez has more knockouts than this Suzuki guy that knocked out Patricio Pitbull in Rizin. And I get you can't really pick off that, but Yair Rodriguez has a 6-inch reach advantage here. He is the age advantage, nearly 6 years younger. He's going to be faster than Patricio. Patricio might pack a bit more of a punch, the old man strength and all that, but Yair Rodriguez is going to be snapping up the front kicks, up the middle, pushing back Patricio Pitbull. I just see Yair Rodriguez being able to either knock out Patricio Pitbull or just ride home just a decision win, soaring around the octagon and just beating him up at range. My pick is going to be Yair Rodriguez to knock out Patricio Pitbull in the second round. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Some say this is good versus bad. I say Bryce Mitchell's the bad one. Gene Silva's the good one. Bryce Mitchell, he doesn't got Lord tatted across his chest. Some of the things he says, though, are pretty reprehensible. Gene Silva, that's not what we're here to talk about, though. Gene Silva is on a tear. A month ago, he knocked out Melsik Bagdasarian. He beat up Drew Dober, got a doctor stoppage, was shucking the takedowns of Drew Dober off. Beat up Charles Jourdain. People forget, man, Charles Jourdain got a takedown. Listen, Bryce Mitchell, he could get a takedown here. I don't see him finishing the fight off of one takedown. The thing is, Bryce Mitchell, he's not lasting 3 rounds with Gene Silva without getting hurt. Gene Silva is a very physical guy. He's going to be able to... this guy, if anyone's going to be timing a knee on a takedown, it'll be Gene Silva, and it will be a flying knee. I promise you that. So I think Gene Silva is definitely the pick here. I'd love to ride the meme of Bryce Mitchell beating Gene Silva. I would. But no, Gene Silva's been on the run. He's my little baby. I love Gene Silva. He's incredible. This guy... Listen, I feel like I'm talking like Trump. This guy, listen, Gene Silva, he's just the best. Nobody's like this guy. You'll never find someone like him, On the feet, Gene Silva, incredible. Just amazing. He's going to beat up Bryce Mitchell. I don't know what else to say about this. He's just going to beat up Bryce Mitchell, probably going to knock out at some point. Josh Emmett had this dude fucking shaking. And I get it. Oh, he's only lost to 2 people, Ilya and Josh Emmett. Ilya knocked him down pretty bad before he submitted him. Josh Emmett probably changed that dude's life. I think Gene Silva's going to be able to knock out Bryce Mitchell. I don't think I think Gene Silva's going to be able to put him out. We're going to say Gene Silva round 1 or round 2 TKO win over Bryce Mitchell. Pretty confident Gene Silva gets this one done, and we're moving on to the co-main event. Oh, man. Oh, Paddy the baddie. Oh, Paddy the... I love this guy. What he did to Bobby Green. Bobby. That's Bobby. Why would I call him King, lad? He was born Robert. What he did to Robert Green was truly incredible. A thing of beauty. And I get it. He had a close fight with Jared Gordon. He broke his foot in that fight. He did break his foot in that fight. Michael Chandler. How many times does he have to be an idiot in a fight for us to stop giving him credit? Who's he beat? Tony Ferguson? Tony Ferguson he knocked out, and Tony Ferguson won the first round of that fight? We're forgetting. Paddy Pimblett is going to be able to get the back of Michael Chandler, and he's going to submit Michael Chandler with a rear naked choke, and if that doesn't work, he's going to take the arm of Michael Chandler and tap him out with an arm bar. And if that doesn't work, he's going to fucking roll through and do an omoplata or some shit. Paddy Pimblett's the smartest grappler in lightweight. Maybe I'll walk that claim back a bit, but he's smarter than Michael Chandler in grappling. And I think that's a fact. Paddy Pimblett's going to be able to submit Michael Chandler. When you're picking someone to just land a big meaty overhand hook, I don't see that being a good path to victory. We saw it last week. Did Josh Emmett land that meaty overhand? Did Josh Emmett land that meaty overhand on Lerone Murphy? No. Paddy Pimblett is going to be able to get the back of Michael Chandler, and he's going to do something crafty and get Michael Chandler out of there. And we're moving on to the main event of the evening. Viva Mexico, baby. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. The belt's coming to Mexico. Listen, it's not going to the 37-year-old old man of Volkanovski. He got knocked out 2 fights in a row, guys. He got knocked out. This is not Yair Rodriguez. This is not Yair Rodriguez. The things Diego Lopes would do to Yair Rodriguez are insane. Listen, Volk is over the hill. It doesn't matter what he did any time before he got knocked out at this point. Diego Lopes is too explosive. He's too dangerous. He's too random with what he'll throw at you. You don't know. The commentators say it amazing when they call it a car crash. He's going to come in and he'll throw the kitchen sink at you. That's hard to prepare for. Against, like, Volkanovski, if he takes one of those big shots, he's out. He's done. It's over. And you think he's going to last a perfect fight with Diego Lopes? Oh, he's going to get these takedowns, and he's going to be able to hold Diego down, and he's going to not get submitted. Even though he nearly got submitted against Ortega. Really close. It was incredibly close. Diego Lopes is going to put him out if he gets him in a triangle choke like that, guys. If he shoots a takedown and he gets a guillotine, geez, I could see Diego Lopes finishing Volkanovski with a submission. I could. I could see him club and subbing Volkanovski. I could see him knocking him out stiff. And for that reason, I'm out. As they would say on Dragon's Den. Diego Lopes is going to finish Volkanovski. It's not going to be pretty. But listen, Diego Lopes is the guy. He's the future. Out of anyone in the division, they have to bring up... The only thing they can say bad about Diego Lopes is that he gassed against Dan Ige on... It was a short notice 165 catch weight bout that he had to weigh in 3 times for. And people will really say all of that doesn't matter. Alright. It doesn't matter that he had to fight a guy that was 20 pounds heavier than him, that didn't have a weight cut at all. And he had to weigh in 3 times the same day when he should have been, like, warming up and doing training and all this. Instead, he had to just focus on weighing in for a whole day, pretty much. He beat the fuck out of Brian Ortega. Worse than Volkanovski did. Like, Volkanovski didn't nearly get a round 1 knockout over Brian Ortega. Diego Lopes woke him up. He knocked him out with the right hand, woke him up with the left hand. The Movsar-Evloev fight, sure, he lost it. It was a week's notice. That was what got him into the company. And he made it hella close, and he won one of those rounds in that fight. A full camp, I think, would be a hella different story. I think that's going to be the fight we'll see when Diego Lopes beats Volkanovski and Movsar-Evloev beats Aaron Pico. That'll be the fight to make. Diego Lopes will be the champion. Mark my words. And it's going to be new either way. But Diego Lopes will be the featherweight champion of the world come Saturday night. Those are my picks by KO or submission. He could get it done by either one. Those are my picks for the card. Let me know what you thought. But yeah, that's everything. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back here for more soon. I'll be probably making more Fight Week content. Let me know what you thought. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.